So what's going on, all my mates? Welcome back to the channel, yeah? Wow, accents, I probably shouldn't do them, but man don't care. Welcome back to the channel. Shout out to all my mates joining me here. We're going back to the original OG Menace deck. First structure deck I ever picked up, Darkworld, but reloaded this time. Anyhow, let's just get into the list. We got 3 Grapha. Shout out to my boy Justin. He says cut it down to 2. Doesn't feel like a Darkworld deck without 3. Enough said. And then not 2, but 3 Snow. I was running it at 2, but once again, shout out to my boy Justin. Searcher of the deck. You kind of do want to play it at 3, right? Sometimes it's bad in the hand. Like you have the snow and you don't have any discard. Can't do anything about it, but it'd be like that sometimes. Moving on, we've got 2 of the new Overking. This is also another searcher, and it's really nice, given that you can just always pull Grapha or, as you'll see, your Silvas, because it works. Plus, given that this has the bouncing ability of OG Grapha, you know, you put your 1 Darkworld card on the field, you bounce it out for this guy, bounce him out for Grapha, and then technically you just have cards in hand, and you just keep using that. Which is going to be relevant, you'll see that later. But there we go, so we got 2 of those bad boys. Then we also have 2 Gatemen. Why 2? That's because I don't have the 3rd one. I did pick up the 3rd structure deck, but it seemed like such a waste to crack open a whole new, you know, box, all the plastic, and then all the extra cards that you're just not going to use for just the 1 card. So I figured maybe I'll pick up another one some other time. Moving on, we've got 2 Beige. I could understand why you would play this at 3. It's you know, rank 4 spam. You try to get into Dweller, Baguska, whatever it is that you're trying to get into. And it is pretty decent, right? It's very simple. Discard, special summon. Bang. Staple. 3, I think, feels a bit like cloggy, at least in my experience with the card. Genta's really nice as well, in combo with the Beige, because like then you just go into Dugaris, move them out, and you know, keep running through your engine, right? All gas, no brakes, baby. And then we've got 2 Silva. I am considering taking this down to 1, because I'm not really hyper focused on the hand looping, but it is nice. It does go off sometimes, and it's kind of fun, you know? Your opponent wants to play the game, you tell them no. Very nice. Because this is Darkworld with a turn skip. Matthew, buddy at my local card shop, is the one who put me onto this. We were just talking, and he said the name of the card, and then I was just browsing through the stock in the shop, and I saw the name, and I was like, this is kind of busted. So I just tossed it in. It works. It's a bit gimmicky, yes, and I'm most certain that I'm not the first person to discover this. There's got to be tons of people on YouTube. But if this is something you kind of want to do, you know, it's in the vein of the Cosmo Neos turn skip that we did previously. We're still doing it because we like to keep things consistent. You know, it's all about those daily incremental wins. You know, show up every day, go to the gym, brush your teeth, kill your boss in Minecraft. You know, live life a little, but be consistent with it. You know, serial killers are very dedicated people. You know, we should respect them as a society, perhaps elevate them to some sort of hero or godlike status. Oh, wait, they already did that. All them documentaries Netflix been given. Anyway, off track. You know, it's a dark world. I went to a dark place. Allow it. I'm running 2 Brow. Definitely did consider the 3rd one, but like the Beige, sometimes I'd see it and I had no way of discarding it. And I don't play like Fabled Rave or anything, purely because I can't afford Baron. That's cap. Purely because I can afford Baron, but due to, you know, what would the word be, like financial intelligence, I decided spending a bill on a single card was perhaps a bit ludicrous. Also, man's currently broke, so it is what it is, you know? Anyway, and to round it off, it's the 1 Pearl. Well, we know it's Pearl. It's a Monster Reborn. It's a Monster Reborn. It's nice. It's nice. I'm not sure what else to say. It would pair really well with Ceruli, of course, but like I said, this deck isn't hyper focused on the hand looping aspect of it. So, do I really need more of them? Not really. But definitely it's a one-off. Definitely a one-off. Anyway, what else do we have? We've got, finally, you know, that rounds off the new stuff. We've got Ceruli. This thing, I think I want to play that too. Just because there have been times where, you know, you manage to get 1 off and then you're just thinking, okay, I can't go into Security Dragon anymore, but I could maybe go like in a roundabout way to get somewhere else. But yes, this is very nice. Like the Ceruli, like this is the stuff you see on the internet all the time, right? Like Ceruli, you somehow discard it, give it to your opponent, Silva, summons, hand loops. Then next you bounce the Silva for this boy, you bounce it again for Grapha, and then you got cards in hand, cards on field. You're laughing. You're laughing at your opponent. You know? At least that's what it is in theory anyway. Seldom does theory play out in reality. Onto the Danger Engine, I played 2 Mothmen. And then we've got the 1 Bigfoot, the 1 Thunderbird, and the 1 Tsushinoko to round out the Danger Engine. That's simply because I couldn't find anyone who's moving Nessies at the moment. And I prefer to deal in person in cash, you know, because the government should always know what it is that we get up to because they're looking out for our best interests. Anyway, I'll somehow, if I could, I'd fit in a Jackalope and 3 Nessies, make room somewhere, or just bump it up and go to like maybe 43 cards, doesn't really matter. Nessie and Jackalope, I think they're very, very pivotal cards. However, despite them being pivots, they're not entirely necessary because I can play without them. If I had them, it would make life so much easier, but you know, life isn't about being easy and living in luxury. It's about overcoming hard challenges. You know, everyone tells you, you can't do it, you can't do that, and then you say, watch me, and well, we'll keep it PG here. Now, this is kind of the spice. So this is, you know, the Zephyros extender, self-explanatory, right? It's like Denier, bro. It's in the grave, you bounce your gates back, this comes, you get to cycle gates again. Level 4, right? Dweller options. The Necomane King, the reason I bumped this up to 2 is because sometimes you'd see it in your hand. Not very nice. You do not want to see it in your hand. But if you do have 2, then yeah, you can discard it off. No big deal. This is supposed to be Cyberstein. I'm so sure I had a copy, but I couldn't find it. But whatever. This, spicy tech. Spicy tech. Now moving on, we've got our spell lineup. This is obvious. 3 gates. This is not. So obviously we're in a tier 0 format or whatever. You really do not want to be doing this, right? You don't want to open with this. Like, if you're really desperate, you would make Dweller, then Dealings, then kind of start, you know, ripping cards from your opponent's hand, technically. But as of right now, I'm just playing these Dealings. When I pick up the Nessies, eventually, God willing, these will probably just become Nessies. Or maybe I'll just play the 1. Because there have been times where you're just like, damn, I really wish I could discard. And this, it kind of makes it work for now, but this deck isn't perfect yet. But we'll figure it out. We're playing 2 Allure, simply because I didn't put the 3rd one in. Playing 2 Accession, should have been like a Sanction or something. Doesn't matter, no need to be salty about it. This card is very nice. Very nice. Because if you're having to fuse by banishing cards, that's not, you know, optimal, but it can work for you, right? But if you have those cards in hand, you get to still use their discard effects. And then if it's in grave, I can take it back to hand and then discard again. Right? It's like double discards, bro. Effects on days. Then I have the 1 copy of the beginning of the end. I will probably take this out for a Jackalope, because you never want to see this card in your opening hand, right? Like you want to draw into it later, and it is very nice when it goes off. But at that point, I feel like if you're using this, you're already winning, and you're just winning harder. So, to each their own. And then finally, 1 copy of Archives, 1 copy of Drag Down. I'm thinking about turning this into a puppetry, but also still not too sure how I feel about that. Puppetry is definitely in the side deck. And now you're noticing we're running no traps. I did play some of the virus stuff, skill drain a little bit earlier, but just for this deck, the focus should always be on just how far could you plausibly take it, and then go beyond that, plus Ultra. Now, to get into the extra deck lineup, this is not complete, obviously, still working on it. But we got 2 of the Dragon Overlord, boss monster of the deck. Its rewrite ability is beautiful, and when it leaves, obviously except when it goes back to the extra deck, floats into Grapha. Great card. Thank you, Konami. We love you. This is the spicy tech. So Cyberstein, you pay 5,000 life points. Doesn't matter, who cares, nobody cares. Do you know why nobody cares? Because we used to be hero players. Hero players, we pay half our life to summon a Stratos. I have no issues paying 5k for this bad boy. Negates. Spell trap negate. Just done. You want to use a spell trap? No, you can't. This boy, you want to use a monster effect? No, now you're gonna help me instead. And you'll see. We don't stop there. We don't stop there. Then rank 4s, you got Dugaris, Dweller, and I did have Baguska at one point, but not anymore. I took it out to make room for the extra trio. Rank 8, Giant Trainer, Orc Cursed, Ding, Zombie Vampire, Spicy Tech, really bad, gonna take it out. This one, okay, I'll probably turn that into a Dragooblion, and this as well. Like I haven't gone into this at all, and Vampire doesn't help. This is supposed to be a proxy for Security Dragon, so that gives you the chance to do like the hand loop, right? You give them Ceruli, you have your Silva, it's gone off. You link things away, you your Ceruli back, and then just do it again. Or you can just play a second Ceruli. I'm not sure yet. I tried it out with this. It doesn't really work. It doesn't mesh with the deck, and you'll see why later. It's because of Muckraker. Like, Muckraker is great, right? It's a reborn. Technically, it's a protection. Good card. But it locks you into Fiends, which means this is dead. It's basically just an extra slot. I've also got the Soldier of Chaos. This is like if you're going second, this is kind of what you want to have. Helps you push damage. Then these two are the beauties of the deck. You know, those cuties with the booties. We've got our beautiful, beautiful Appaloosa. Very nice. Thank you, Konami, again for the reprint. You know, 5 bones. Oh, very nice, very affordable. Ideally, you know, you're getting a 4-negate Appaloosa, right? 4-negate Appaloosa, some like this, right? Like, and then you still have cards in hand. Like you can still play. Spell Trap negates, 4 monster negates, 1 rewrite, and then when I discard something, I'm going off. Like, get out of my house, don't come back, sayonara, you know? And then finally the Saryuja, very good. So good. Draw, special, attack boost, and then I can just link it off and go right into Appaloosa after. Superb. But that kind of rounds it out, I would think. The theory behind the extra deck is I didn't really have one. You know, I saw a couple things, and I'm like, okay, rank 4s were definitely something that I played, but this was like, man, it must have been a decade ago, back when we were playing Darkworlds back in the day. Right, now you got these Link monsters. With more dangers, Giant Trainer becomes a lot more accessible. Dragoobleon will allow you to go into some spicy plays. I only play the Zombie Vampire because sometimes you need the dump. You need cards in your grave, you need the fuel. But in this format, this is a terrible, terrible card. But I had it. It looks nice, you know? And I haven't actually used it successfully in, you know, an actual duel. Like, summoned it. But in theory, it isn't so bad. Anyway, so that's the deck profile out of the way. This hasn't really been tested, given that, you know, we're not legally allowed to play it till like a few days after I'm recording this video. But I did take it to one of my locals, played a couple guys just to kind of get a feel for the deck. I did lose, yes, but I took Ishizu Tier Limits to Game 3. So regardless of whether or not they break this deck can fight.